New England to kick off. They won the toss. They have deferred. Daniel Herron is back to receive, and one of the best kickers in the league. Stephen Gostowski, been doing it for 9 years. Will send it toward the end zone, and off we go in Indianapolis with a touchback. The offense for the Colts. Let's take a look at the guys.
Andrew Luck, Stanford.
Trent Richardson, Alabama.
Reggie Wayne, Marrero.
T.Y. Hilton, FIU.
Hakeem Nicks, North Carolina.
Dwayne Allen, Clemson.
Anthony Costanzo, Boston College.
Jack Muhort, The Ohio State University.
Jonathan Harrison, Florida.
Hugh Thornton, Illinois.
Gloucester Sherrillis, BC.
So 2 veteran tackles and 2 rookies at center and left guard. And they begin by spreading it out. 5 receivers, empty backfield. Luck under pressure. He can run and exhibits a little bit of it there as he slides to a halt at the 25-yard line. Luck is on a record-setting yardage pace. He could put his name into the record book in several categories. 7 straight games with 300 or more passing yards. And of course, a lot of times guys pass for 300 or more in a losing cause. Not the case with him. 2nd down and 6 now from the 24-yard line. Crowd gets quiet, as they did in all of those Peyton Manning years, to let the offense hear the signals. Richardson, who came in a trade with Cleveland last year, gain of a couple. Let's take a look at the New England defensive starters.
Rob Ninkovich, Purdue.
Vince Wilfork, Hurricanes.
Chris Jones, Bowling Green State.
Dominic Easley, Florida.
Damon Collins, Southern Miss. Dante Hightower, the University of Alabama.
Akeem Ayers, UCLA.
Darrell Revis, Pitt.
Patrick Chung, the Ducks.
Devin McCourty, Rutgers.
Brandon Browner, Oregon State.
Browner coming off suspension. Revis on the other side. 2 great corners. This defense has done a masterful job during the 5-game winning streak. It's 3rd down and 5. And they've done it despite losing Gerard Mayo, maybe their key guy and their signal caller. Luck dancing around, flips it to Ahmad Bradshaw, and the former Giant will get taken down shy of a 1st down. Hightower makes the tackle, so New England defers, and it works out perfectly because they hold him 3 and out.
Well, one of the reasons he had to check the ball down, there's T.Y. Hilton, their top threat on the outside. Does a pretty good job getting by Kyle Arrington, but you could see the help right over the top with Devin McCourty. And then Darrell Revis on Reggie Wayne, a couple of veterans going at it tonight.
Pat McAfee, one of the very best in the league, a booming kick to the 15 and close to the sideline. And Danny Amendola with a flag down runs it back to the 22-yard line. Pete Morelli is tonight's referee, and we'll hear from him in just a moment. We promise.
During the return, the illegal block in the back, number 27, the receiving team. 10-yard penalty, 1st sack.
Tavon Wilson. So for Tom Brady, comes into the game making his 201st regular season start. 8th quarterback in the history of the league. Over 200. A little bit of postseason experience too along the way. And he has just been brilliant in October and November. Start from the 11. Of course, the crowd now gets as loud as it can get as Jonas Gray is the running back. They lost Stephen Ridley over a month ago to a season-ending injury, and Gray has taken over as their top running back. From the 11. Off play action. Great protection. And then it's incomplete up to the 33, intended for Brian Timms, who would be their number 4 wide receiver. So they go to him on the first play, and it's 2nd down and 10.
Tom Brady was looking to his right, but it was Greg Toller, number 28, who took away Julian Edelman right off the bat, so he had to come backside. and rush one. This is a Colts defense that has been fantastic, especially in this building.
They lead the league in third down stops. Right now, 2nd and 10. Brady from the 11, again with time, and then he shoots it to Vereen on the outside. He gets slung out of bounds as we take a look at the Patriots starters.
Tom Brady, Michigan.
Jonas Gray, Notre Dame.
Julian Edelman, Kent State.
JoJo LaFell, LSU.
Rob Gronkowski, Arizona.
Michael Holmnow, Illinois.
Nate Solder, Colorado. Dan Conley, Southeast Missouri.
Brian Stork, Florida State.
Ryan Wendell, Fresno State.
Sebastian Ballmer, University of Houston.
So I mentioned how good they are on third down, and at home, they're phenomenal. Only 18% of the time does the opposition convert on third down in this building. We'll see what happens here on 3rd and 7. Brady shoots it to the right side. It's juggled but caught, and they do convert as Julian Edelman makes the catch. Toller with the coverage, and that's the first down of the game.
Well, one of the things that you're going to see the Patriots do is get into some of these stacked formations there, because the Colts want to play man coverage. That time you saw Darius Butler, number 20, just sort of get mixed up. It's not like you get beat, but when you get bunched up like that, it makes it hard to play man.
Back to the ground. This is Jonas Gray. Gray to the 30-yard line. You know, it's amazing what New England has done through the years, and Belichick and the staff. No matter who they lose, and they lost Ridley, who was really starting to play extremely well. He was their top back. This guy signed with Miami. He wasn't even a regular starter at Notre Dame. He was on the Baltimore practice squad. Then New England brought him in. He was on the practice squad until 3 weeks ago, and he's the horse out of the backfield.
But he is thick. He's about 230 pounds a man, and as honest a back as you will find, he is going to run where Bill Belichick tells him to run. No ad-libbing from him.
And he follows the fullback, Devlin, right through the middle up to the 37-yard line goes Gray for a first down.
All right, I think this is James Devlin's going to come back inside here. These angles from the New England Patriots offense are always very creative. You see them set up either tight ends or fullbacks so that they have sharp angles for those blocks.
Quick count, Brady under pressure, but he's able to step away and then throw it away, and he's outside the pocket. Eric Walden put the pressure on, so there's no grounding. He was outside the tackle box. It'll be 2nd and 10.
It's good for them to have Eric Walden out. He's been out with a quad. And the one team that has really given the New England Patriots fits this year was the Kansas City Chiefs. And how did they do it? They did it with pressure. Very difficult to try and defend on the back end if you can't get pressure. And Greg Minuski, this guy brings pressure about as much as anybody in the league.
Brady takes a snap out of the gun. Big hole, and bursting through it and into Colts territory goes Shane Vereen. Vereen was playing behind Ridley, but he's the kind of guy who catches as many passes as he runs the ball. 18 yards here.
Here we go again with these kick-out blocks. Gronkowski again will get the good angle. Vereen will cut back right behind that block. And it makes it easy. They're going to make it as easy for these tight ends and fullbacks to make their blocks as possible.
Now you've got Gray again with Devlin, the fullback, in there as well, helping to provide the escort, and he churns his way for a gain of 16 yards. Good opening drive for the Patriots. Good mixture, too. 4 rushes, 4 passes. Colts in the last 2 games against the Pats, 1 regular season contest and then the playoffs last year. You saw that 102 points given up. And they run the end around here with Edelman. He's got Gronkowski got in front providing a block, and he will set up a first down and goal. Toller knocks him out of bounds. So this drive began at the 11-yard line, back at their own 11. Now it's 1st and goal at the 4.
Great play by Gronk here, understanding that guy wasn't going to get there, so he jumps around and just continues down the field, gets up on Mike Adams, and what a drive this has been from the New England Patriots.
Gain of 25. Gray is the back. Edelman in motion. LaFell to that same side, wide to the right. Brady looking that way, goes to the outside and incomplete for Edelman. It'll be second down. You know, it's so funny about it's an anomaly. We talked about Indianapolis, how great they are on third down stops, number one in the league, but they're terrible in red zone defense. Go figure, they're last in the league.
And it's disturbing for Chuck Pagano. Here's a guy that has been the defensive coordinator in Baltimore and some of the best defensive units. He came out and they were told it was a 32nd ranked last in red zone defense. I don't think he could swallow it.
From the 4, second and goal. On the ground and trying to get his way into the end zone, and does for the touchdown, is Jonas Gray. So for the Patriots, they defer, they stop Indianapolis 3 and out, and then they get the ball at their own 11, and they go 89 yards in a little over 4 minutes to take the lead.
And one of the things they want to do is bring in some bigger guys and then pull around. They get as much beef as possible in there, and then you'll just see big Jonas Gray. There is no ad lib to this guy. I really enjoyed watching the tape. You have a guy like Shane Vereen who will bounce out and run around and create things on his own. For Jonas Gray, if Bill Belichick says to run right over the tackle, he's running right over the tackle. If there's no hole, coach, you drew it up wrong.
There he is on his 36th carry of his National Football League career. That's his first touchdown. Gostowski for the point after. 8:37 to go in the opening quarter. The Patriots, great first drive, 7-0. And Gostowski's second kickoff will result in his second touchback. And Andrew Luck back to work at home when we come back. First down now from the 20-yard line. On the ground, going nowhere, is Trent Richardson. Second down.
Oh, right up front is going to be a matchup to watch this evening. These two guys going at it. Jonathan Harrison, who's a rookie free agent, having to line up right across from Vince Wilfork much of the night. And one of the things that you always want to do as a pass rushing team is to try and get some penetration right down the middle, because when Andrew Luck is at his best, is not moving right and left, it's stepping up in the pocket, and tonight Vince Wilfork's going to try and take that away from him.
Not only a rookie center, but a free agent rookie. Muhort, the left guard, was a number 2 draft choice.
Number 78 offense, 5-yard penalty, still second down.
And that would be the veteran Gosder Chiroulis, the right tackle. Chiroulis, yep. Jimmy Fallon said that this would be the first name to be mispronounced tonight, and that was an ode to Jimmy.
It was odds on,
right?
You know? So you just tried to take care of him.
You,
and you gave him a plug too. I think that's fantastic.
We're always thinking promos. There you go, Jimmy.
I think that was Jonathan Harrison, the young rookie there. Everybody else moved, and he didn't snap the ball. So unless 4 guys were wrong at the same time, I'm going to put it on him.
3 receivers to the right. What goes that way, and it's caught. And that will be Reggie Wayne coming up about 3 yards shy of the first. Kyle Arrington making the stop, and it will be 3rd and short, 3rd and about 4.
There's Reggie Wayne right here. You'll see him right down the middle. Watch him just take his time running that route. It was interesting. Bill Belichick this week was talking about what a great route runner that Reggie Wayne was. And sometimes route running is not about running full speed. It's changing speeds like a good pitcher.
Great protection over the middle, and Wayne going down to the turf at the 39-yard line. And Reggie Wayne, as he's done so craftily and brilliantly throughout his long career, now in his 14th year, comes up with it. They're going to make sure it's a catch. Take another look here.
No doubt.
Yep, has it all the way to the ground, secures it there. Wayne coming back after missing half of last year, torn ACL. Ahmad Bradshaw now the running back from the 39. And right over the middle, and wide open again is Reggie Wayne, all the way to the 15-yard line.
Here he is, going to come straight down the chute here, and Darrelle Revis just lets him go. The safety tried to go over the top to help on the other side, probably on T.Y. Hilton, and there's just nobody there.
Gain of 46, so back-to-back passes to Reggie Wayne. 3 receivers in a bunch to the right. Keep it on the ground. Bradshaw cutting it back. And Bradshaw works his way for a gain of about 4. Of course, who can ever forget we saw Bradshaw as a New York Giant. They were trying to play clock ball at the end of that Super Bowl game, and that was the reluctant touchdown.
Reluctant touchdown, as they call it around here. That was pretty amazing, wasn't it? They did not want Tom Brady to have additional time. Probably best if he had taken a knee, but how do you not score the game-winning touchdown in the Super Bowl? It was the least celebrated game-winning touchdown of all time.
No doubt. 2nd down and 7 now from the 12-yard line. Just a 3-man rush here, an 8 back, and he slings it to the outside. Taken there by Bradshaw. He's knocked down just about at the line of scrimmage by Revis. And it will be 3rd and 8. And there was Bill Belichick who let Bradshaw score on that play. Wanted to get the ball back. Of course, Bill had that, we'll look at it later on tonight, that 4th and 2 call in that game a few years back that didn't turn out well, and Peyton Manning took over and won the game.
Yeah, who knows, he might have won the game if they had punted too, but it certainly was one of the boldest coaching decisions I'd ever seen.
3rd down and 8 now at the 13-yard line. Patriots only one guy with his hand on the ground, and Luck throws, and it's incomplete. There's action and contact in the end zone. Crowd wants a flag. There is none. Hilton covered by Kyle Arrington. 4th down, and in comes the field goal group.
Definitely a little action here as you go out to the corner route, and it looks like Arrington's going to be the guy tonight on T.Y. Hilton if he's going to come in the slot. Pretty effective, though. Got his head back around. I think that's a good no call.
The great Adam Vinatieri, still as good as ever at the age of 41, longtime Patriot, and came here in 06. 31-yard attempt, and that one is inside the right upright and good. So his streak continues, but Indy bogs down, settles for 3, and it's 7-3. Cold night in the Indiana State Capitol, but roof closed at Lucas Oil Stadium, 7-3. Colts had to settle for a field goal. And now a touchback here as Danny Amendola holds in the Vinatieri kick. And Brady will go back to work. The McAfee kick, I meant. Brady back to work when we come back. That first drive, which resulted in a touchdown, 6 rushes, 77 yards. Brady was 2 of 5 for 12 yards, but there was a big completion to Edelman on the only 3rd down that drive to keep it going. Now they start from the 20-yard line. Play action to the outside, too high and off the hands of Edelman. Let's take a look at the Indianapolis defense.
Corey Reddick, Texas.
Josh Chapman, Alabama. Ricky Jean Francois, Carroll City.
Bjorn Vanna, Florida State.
DeQuell Jackson, Maryland.
Jarrell Freeman, Mary Hardin Baylor. Eric Walden, Dublin High.
Greg Toller, St. Paul's College.
Mike Adams, Delaware Blue Hens.
Sergio Brown, Notre Dame, baby.
Vontae Davis, Dunbar Senior High School, D.C.
Vontae Davis, one of the best shutdown corners in the league. Former Miami Dolphins, 2nd down and 10. And Brady over the middle, and that is caught by Gronkowski. Interesting that Gronkowski wasn't even involved in that first drive, at least catching it. There's Edelman. He did, though, have a really good block. So Edelman gets shaken up on this play, and you saw him on the bench, hit by Davis.
Yeah, one of the ways you play defense now with Vontae Davis is the guy's in the air, you just shove him out of bounds. There is no force out anymore, and that time Edelman took a blow.
Hit the marker as well. Look at this now as Gray on 3rd and inches takes off and gets to the 50-yard line. So Ridley out for the season. They bring in Gray off the practice squad. 20-yard gain here.
If you're running it this well, just bring in another offensive lineman. Here's Cameron Fleming right down here at the bottom. They're going to work in Marcus Cannon, who's a backup tackle. So anytime that Bill Belichick gets this kind of success running the football early, he is just going to load up until you stop it.
Now Shane Vereen is the back. Brady Going deep, and it's going to be picked off inside the 10-yard line. Mike Adams, the safety. Great coverage that time. Brady goes down. Walden knocks him to the turf. And it's a turnover as the Colts take over. Picked by Adams. Hit by Walden. Three picks and a couple of fumble recoveries for the veteran Mike Adams, who's able to pick it off. Very interesting to note that Brady went to Timms. Timms coming into the game, the number 4 receiver, maybe even 5 if you go down the depth chart, had been targeted only 3 times all season, caught 1 pass, and tonight he's gone his way twice, including that long bomb right there. Bradshaw is the back as we start this drive from the 6-yard line. Short drop, quick throw to the outside, and T.Y. Hilton, their number 1 receiver, picks up 10. Back to the pick.
Pressure creates issues. Pressure here, and that meant that on the backside, Mike Adams was able to slough off, and Tom Brady didn't have time to look back there. He just did not factor him in. It wasn't that Timms wasn't open and getting behind the defense, but Adams on the other side able to come over the top.
Mingo, mingo, mingo. Check out.
2.5 to go in the opening stanza. Bradshaw on the stretch play to the 22-yard line, hit there by Alan Branch, another of the guys they went out and picked up, 8-year veteran, and when there's an injury, they know where to look on that sheet.
Here we go. Big Alan Branch working his way all the way down the line. He's getting an opportunity to play in this one because of some injuries around on this football team. Of course, their best pass rusher, Chandler Jones, out not playing in this one. But Branch started the year this year, was cut by the Buffalo Bills.
Yeah, I want to say the sheet, it's the free agent sheet, it's the waiver wire. Go find them. And the Patriots have been pretty terrific at it through the years. On 2nd down and 5. Luck. Flushed out, chased, turns the corner, and is out of bounds. Rob Ninkovich chasing him out right there. Chuck Pagano wanting the flag.
Well, you've got, and a little bit of a surprise for me, you've got Darrelle Revis out there on Reggie Wayne, and then the bigger defensive back, Brandon Browner, knocks down T.Y. Hilton inside. You would have thought maybe that Revis would have been on the smaller receiver, T.Y. Hilton, but at least so far it really hasn't matched up that way. That's a big guy right there to play corner, about 220 pounds, 6'4". Good luck running around that.
3rd and 5, play clock all the way down. They just do get it off. Over the middle, that's caught. That'll move the chains. Kobe Fleener, the tight end who played with Luck at Stanford, converts here on a 3rd and 5.
Really nice pickup here by Ahmad Bradshaw. He's going to have to come across and pick up a big guy, Dante Hightower. That was one of the big issues for the Colts tonight. Could their 2 backs, Trent Richardson and Ahmad Bradshaw, pick up these big linebackers inside, Dante Hightower and Jamie Collins? Bradshaw got it done, and they got the completion down the field.
Right 5-4, single.
Luck has started 7 of 8 for 102. And they're going nowhere is Bradshaw. Ninkovich is right there having a real good year. Rob Ninkovich, kind of one of their unsung guys, but has been doing it pretty well for 9 years. Played his college football upstate at Purdue.
There's about 8 sacks a year and already 4. Ninkovich going to come ripping in off the outside. And he's a guy that, you know, you think you can get him figured out. You think you have some idea, but he is the veteran on this football team. And everything sort of runs through him now, especially with Gerard Mayo out.
End of the quarter. New England 7, Indianapolis 3. Sunday Night Football resumes after these messages. Pats with an opening drive that went 89 yards. And as we start the second quarter, it's 2nd down and 12 for Andrew Luck and the Colts from the 40-yard line.
What's 70? What's up?
Four-man rush. Pass off the fingertips of Ahmad Bradshaw. I'll tell you, this AFC is crazy. I mean, Denver loses at St. Louis today. Cincinnati goes to New Orleans and they win. Kansas City beats Denver. Now they're tied for the top spot in the West. This is a big game in terms of playoff positioning.
Yeah, and if Indianapolis can pull this off, it basically would make it about a 4 or 5 team race. Everybody tied at the top, and here we go down the stretch run. But this is one of those moments for Indianapolis. They can't have plays like Ahmad Bradshaw just had on that one. You have to make the easy plays. Whenever this team makes a mistake, you've got to convert on that.
KC tied with Denver for the top spot after beating Seattle today at Arrowhead. And now on a 3rd and 12, that pass is way out of bounds. Intended for Hakeem Nicks, the former Giant. Logan Ryan covering. Brady ready to go back to work after the punt.
Hakeem Nicks, formerly of the Giants, little double move here, working against Logan Ryan, trying to get a play down the field. Had a little space, but Luck just threw it out of bounds.
They have a great place kicker and a great punter, Pat McAfee. Also outstanding is the kickoff man in his 6th year in the league. Normally booms him. Does it here. 6-yard line. Danny Amendola, and great coverage. Dewey McDonald racing down there, a rookie out of California, Pennsylvania, that is, with the coverage.
Sometimes these are the biggest plays in the game because it's about field position with these two teams. Amendola makes the catch, and that is one tough play. You pin them down inside the 5-yard line. Now this defense, this pressure defense with the home crowd worked up behind them, now you get a chance to make one of those game-changing turnovers if they can.
From the 4, Brady shoots one out quickly to Edelman, who was shaken up the last time they had the ball, and he is very close to a first down at the 14. Adams makes the tackle. So when you go back to Brady through those first 4 weeks, he was way down the league in rating. Of course, they were 2-2 at that point. They had that Monday night disaster in Kansas City. Since then, pretty terrific. Tom, terrific. What else is new?
And the difference is the Patriots stick to what they do. You know, they're not going to change because they have a couple of bad days.
No. We're on to Cincinnati. Here's Jonas Gray. That'll, at the end of the year, if they wind up going all, that'll be played forever and ever.
Well, and it should be, because I know that everybody thinks that Belichick was, you know, just being Belichick there and, you know, trying to play around with the media. But the honest truth was, what the man does is goes back to work. Tom Brady was watching Cincinnati tape on the way home from Kansas City.
And look at that hole exploited by Gray, by Jonas Gray. Again, he played at Notre Dame 4 years there, but never really a regular starter. I mean, he played a lot in his senior year, split time, and here he is in his 3rd season in the league with first action.
This extra tackle out here is really making a difference. Cameron Fleming coming in at the tight end position, and they are just either confusing or blowing the Colts off the ball here.
Gray again, talking about 3rd season. Actually, didn't play the first 2. He was down in Miami all year, and then he was rehabbing there, and then he went to Baltimore on the practice squad, and New England, the practice squad. And Belichick was telling us last night, man, I was trying to get him on the roster earlier. There just wasn't a spot for him until Ridley got hurt.
But, you know, we're getting on that time of year where you want to have a physical football team. You want your offense to have a physical presence, and right now Jonas Gray is providing that.
Now you got 5 receivers here with Brady on a 2nd and 7. 3-man rush, short pass, and Amendola gets crunched at the 41 by Bjorn Werner, their #1 pick last year out of Florida State.
Wow. I know as a receiver, one thing you always dream about is the possibility of getting hit by a defensive end. Oh, man. Amendola turned out, thought he had some space to run, and that hurts.
Gray now in the backfield with Brady on 3rd and 3.
Both middle linebackers up there in blitz position.
And Gronkowski was put in motion, and Brady down the sideline into double coverage, and it's incomplete. Tim Wright, #2 tight end, the intended receiver, 4th down.
You know, that drive did not go so well, but the one thing that we're seeing, because the Patriots are able to run the ball so effectively, Now the play action is giving Tom all kinds of times. He just sat back there in the pocket there.
And that rushing game, 120 yards on the ground already tonight for the Patriots, and then the punt goes into the end zone off the foot of Ryan Allen. Andrew Luck will take over the 20. His team down by 4. As we come back, you look at those two guys right there, Belichick and the quarterback Luck, who sits with Clyde Christensen. It is a great chess match.
It is. From Pep Hamilton upstairs. He knew he was going to have to figure some things out here early in this game, whatever Belichick's new wrinkle was going to be.
And Richardson, flag, short game. Which makes sure he goes no further. Referee Pete Morelli.
Illegal use of hands to the face, number 50, defense, 5-yard penalty, automatic, first down.
Rob Ninkovich, one of the more physical guys out here, gets a big stud and Dwayne Allen out on him, and he just gets his hands right up underneath the face mask. Probably in years past, that one may not have been called because he got it down fairly quickly. But the offensive players in the league felt like the defensive players were taking advantage of that rule, giving them shots to the chin, getting them off balance, and then coming back off of it. So they changed the rule, and that contact's enough.
Yeah, you saw the numbers there. They lead the league in penalty yardage, tied with Denver for most penalties per game, and that's a source of major consternation for one Bill Belichick. And Luck throws in the wide open. There's Fleener making his second catch for a big game, 22 yards.
Well, first of all, it's the receiving tight end, Kobe Fleener, working on the 3 receiver side. But the reason they're able to give so much help to that side, I think what the little twist is here is that Darrelle Revis is going to take Reggie Wayne on the one-on-one side so they can give help with the other side. So a little bit more zone action on that side to try and take away T.Y. Hilton, and one-on-one between Reggie Wayne and Darrelle Revis.
Now you have Wayne in the slot. You have Hilton going in motion. So they stack the two of them, and then the pass is caught by Hilton, that's bursting through to make the tackle. It's Browner coming in there to say you ain't going anywhere. Second down.
How great was that by Brandon Browner? I mean, they had Reggie Wayne right on his face. They're working the pick and the rub. Here he is right here. Knew exactly what was coming. Faked out Reggie Wayne and made a play in the backfield. You know, Browner is a guy, Al, that is just a physical presence. I mean, they really think that he has added an edge to this team. Is he the fastest guy in the world? No, he is not. You don't want him chasing T.Y. Hilton down the field. But just the physical edge and the intensity he brings to practice has really added something to this Patriots defense.
Started his career at Denver. Spent 4 years playing in Canada. Second down and 10. And Luck fires it over the middle, and that's caught at the 30-yard line by Fleener. So Fleener, a major force in the game to this point as he's made his 3rd catch. That one's good for 22 yards. 3 for 64 for him.
And they're just taking advantage of his size. They're just throwing jump balls up to him and saying, that's fine. You want to put defensive backs out here on our receiving tight end. I'm going to throw it up to about a 7'6" level and let him go get it. Good luck with your little DBs.
From the 29. Luck, 10 of 13, 146. Richardson cannot get out of the backfield. I got to ask you something. You were a wide receiver. I love when you talk about a pick and a rub. A pick is illegal, right? But a rub is legal. So what is a rub? Is like a euphemism for a pick, right?
Yes. A rub is what you're saying when you're in the huddle and you think the referee's listening.
Right.
We got the. There we go. We've got. Look at Darrelle Revis come up there on the tail end of that and take on the tackle, Anthony Costanzo. Revis is as good a run player as he is a pass player.
2nd and 14. And Luck. Good protection, but then it's deflected and intercepted at the 23-yard line. Devin McCourty. And he runs it back 12 yards out to the 33-yard line. So a good-looking drive, and then all of a sudden a deflection and an interception, and Tom Brady will go back to work with 8.5 to play in the half. Rivas covering Wayne. You go back to the 2010 wild card game played here, Jets Colts. Wayne was thrown to once, caught it 1 yard. A tremendous job done by Rivas, and the Jets left town with a victory. Now from the 32 after the McCourty interception off the deflection, the pass to the outside. Shane Vereen to the 35, and we go back to the interception.
Well, here's the Belichick twist for this game. He's going to take Rivas right there on Reggie Wayne. And I'm not so sure that the right play now isn't to say, okay, you're going to spin Rivas on Wayne. I'm going to go test everybody else on the field. Now, as a competitor, Reggie Wayne's going to want to get all the action he can one-on-one, but sometimes you have to be a little realistic, too.
Bring in the extra offensive lineman on the right side, give it to Gray. He's to the 39-yard line. It'll be 3rd and 3. Werner makes the stop.
You know, the one thing that we all talk about Gronkowski and what he's done with the passing game, but he has been a major factor run blocking so far here tonight.
And he provided that nice little escort on that first drive way downfield to turn an Edelman catch into a big game.
Expect a lot of movement on this defensive line. That's how they've been getting pressure, stunts and loops and games in there.
3rd and 3. Stepping up, avoids pressure, throws, flag, Gronkowski. That is tough to bring down as a building. Mike Adams runs him out of bounds, and Morelli will give us the call. Flag's about 10 yards downfield.
Prior to the pass, holding, number 29 defense. Penalty is declined. Result of the play, first down.
You're going to see a lot of this in here, and they almost got there with the pressure. The stunt comes back around to Quell Jackson, tried to get there, then it was Corey Redding. They did get to Brady, but not before big Gronkowski was able to fight his way open. I don't know how you cover him.
And Brady dancing around, waiting, and finds the open man, who's Danny Amendola, for a gain of 9 yards, 2nd and 1 for New England.
You know, it's kind of interesting. Danny Amendola, I think, was the guy that they all thought was going to take over for Wes Welker here. He was brought in for that role, but then it turned into Julian Edelman, and Julian Edelman, really, since Welker has left, has been sensational. It just made it such a difference for this team.
And this year they brought in Brandon LaFell, got off to a slow start, but he's played extremely well of late. And this will be a first down as Gray takes the ball inside the 30-yard line, and Gray closing in on a triple-figure night already. 10 carries, 84 yards for him.
The big change for the Patriots this season came with this interior three. When they settled on Dan Connolly, Brian Stork, and Ryan Wendell inside, it was Connolly who started the year at center. Wendell had played center the last 2 years, and Stork, the rookie, in there. When they settled on that, everything started getting right with the Patriots.
Center, a 4th-round draft choice from Florida State, and Brady has to get rid of it in a hurry. And, well, it's not caught. It's incomplete. Jonathan Newsom, rookie out of Ball State, Muncie, Indiana, put the heat on that time.
Tell you better have an answer for this kid right here. He has some extreme quickness, a couple of sacks in their last game. And Jonathan Newsom, if there's anybody on the Colts defense that may be able to fill in for a Robert Mathis role, that is the guy. He has some quicks to him.
Injury timeout here. Mike Adams, who had the interception before, needs some assistance. This Colt defense, big disparity between home and road. Get them on the road, 31-17, 20, then that 51-point outburst in Pittsburgh, 24 against New York. They did win that game, give up 30 points. You get them here, though. They give up 30 to Philly, but then 17-13 and pitched a shutout against Cincinnati, 50 in the game. And now, after the injury timeout, with Adams walking off to the sideline, that pass intended for LaFell is incomplete. LaRon Landry coming off a PED suspension takes Adams' spot. It'll be 3rd down and 10.
And Ron Landry is probably the guy that physically you would say would be the best matchup against Gronkowski. He is big and strong. You look at those arms on that guy. Man for man, he could go toe-to-toe with Rob Gronkowski.
It's Popeye. Edelman shifts to the right side. Brady hits Edelman, and Edelman will take it to the 16-yard line for a 1st down. Julian Edelman, what a find he was. 7th round, went to Kent State. He was a quarterback in high school, quarterback in college. Grew up in Northern California, very close to where Brady grew up. Matriculated in Kent State in Ohio, and he's been phenomenal, not only as a receiver, but one of the best punt returners in recent times.
And he never even did it in high school or college.
From the 16-yard line, this is Jonas Gray working his way for a couple. Freeman makes the stop.
2 leading tacklers for the Indianapolis Colts, both inside, Jarrell Freeman and DeQuell Jackson. DeQuell Jackson coming over from the Cleveland Browns after all the years of sort of suffering through there and watching coaches get fired while they're on the bus leaving the stadium. Now is so excited to have a chance to play in some of these big games and going against Tom Brady here.
Yeah, he said that actually happened when they let Romeo Crennel go after a loss to the Steelers on the last day of the season. 2nd down and 7. Brady, great protection, then slings that one much too high. Flag is down. Edelman, the intended receiver, flag is down at the 9-yard line, about 4 yards downfield.
Illegal contact, number 28 defense, 5-yard penalty, automatic 1st down.
Greg Toller.
Tough to play defense. Toller came up, he saw the slant and just kind of came up and made contact past 5 yards. And you see well down the field, and that's illegal. If anybody asked me, and nobody ever has, I wish they'd move that rule to 10 yards. I wish illegal contact were at 10 yards, so at least you'd have a chance to get some pressure on the quarterback. You can still bang around with him a little bit going down the field.
We'll get the competition committee to take that up. 1st and goal from the 8. And look at Gray working his way down to the 1-yard line. Well, you saw him play a lot at Notre Dame. What'd you think of him at that point?
You know, I was impressed with the guy, just because, but it's more of a NFL style back. He is now at 230 pounds. You need those guys that can just carry the load inside when people are hitting him. It's a big difference between gaining 3 and 5 yards.
And here he goes again with a little shift to the left and into the end zone for his 2nd touchdown. Jonas Gray, 13 carries, 95 yards, 2 TDs.
Big Brian Stork right down the middle. Now, you may say he got a little grab in there, but go figure. Out of all the stars that we talked about coming into this game, that Jonas Gray would be the dominant force. The Patriots are running over the Colts, and the Colts can't run a lick against the Patriots.
And Devlin doing a nice job when they have him in as the fullback. Gostowski now for the extra point out of the Ryan Allen hold. And with 3:50 to go in the 1st half, 68 yards, 11 plays. Again, good balance. 5 runs, 6 passes, 14-3 Patriots. Right now it's an 11-point New England lead. Here's Gostowski's kick, which is a bouncing ball, and that will bound through the end zone. They'll take it at the 20-yard line, and we go to Michelle.
Well, Al, with 2 games left in his senior season at Notre Dame, Jonas Gray tore the ACL, MCL, and LCL in his right knee. He's miserable at home. He gets a visit from his 2 best friends who brought him a street sign that read, "No left turns." In other words, just keep going in the right direction. And Gray told me, that's how I approach everything now, with the mentality that I'm always rehabbing, always having to come back from something, Al.
Thank you, Michelle. And we talked about the fact he was rehabbing at Miami with the Dolphins when he was in their camp, and then went to Baltimore practice squad, comes to New England practice squad, and now he is a sudden star. Block from the 20. Coming out of the pocket. Packs it in and picks up 4 to the 24 with 3:40 to go in the half.
On the outside, now they've matched up the big guy, Brandon Browner, on Kobe Fleener, and once he was taken away, Luck had to pull it down. So far tonight, you really have to say that Bill Belichick has had the number again. Now they've got to make some adjustments on this Colts offense.
Pressure, 2nd and 6. Luck in the arms of a oncoming Patriot, Dante Hightower, and the wobbly pass is incomplete. 3rd and 6.
Right here, they're going to show this pressure, and the reason they do that, they want those guards to feel like they've got to step down and help, and then try to get some pressure out around the outside. You know, this is Dante Hightower's first chance to really come on the road as the signal caller and try and take over. He had one of his best games calling the signals, replacing Drod Mayo last time out, and now here he is on the road, and so far this defense has been very efficient. One mistake, and Ahmad Bradshaw dropped that one.
3rd and 6. And 3 receivers will come off the right side. Luck to that area, caught, but a great tackle is made up at the 27-yard line. Collins is there. Jamie Collins has really been playing well this season. So the pass is good for a short gain to Bradshaw, and it's 4th and 2.
There's nothing that young man right there can't do. He just needs to gain experience. Jamie Collins in the open field is as athletic as any linebacker you'll see. That guy can get out on backs, on tight ends, and occasionally on slot receivers.
Now Pat McAfee, drafted out of West Virginia in 09 in the 7th round. And he has been tremendous. A good booming kick. Flag is down from the 15-yard line. Amendola going next to nowhere. And there's another flag. So you have 2 separate penalties coming up. There's Luck, 11 of 16 for 150, but the interception. Had one really good looking drive that bogged down at the end, and they settled for those 3 points that they have on the scoreboard. Brady getting loose, and here's Morelli.
There are 2 fouls during the kick on the receiving team. Illegal block in the back, number 21. That penalty would be declined. Holding, number 23. Receiving team, that penalty would be accepted. 10 yards, 1st down, and timeout.
So Brady with 2:15 and an 11-point lead.
Offensive coordinator Josh McDaniels does a great job creating positive angles for his team to make blocks. You don't want to make it hard, you want to make it easy. You see some of the angles created inside with these blocks. Now you bring Gronk back around the other side, a little inside zone play, pop it out the backside. And then, of course, the old-fashioned power with Dan Conley heading up inside there. But it has been the power running of Jonas Gray in this offensive line winning this game.
And here we go again. Gray up to the 14-yard line. You saw Josh McDaniels. He had that ill-fated turn as the Denver Bronco head coach. Got into it with Cutler and all that. But he's going to put himself right back in the conversation for another head coaching job down the line, the way these things are going. 2 minutes to the half. Second and 5, and that's caught close to a 1st down by Edelman. And speaking of those Cardinals and the Patriots in the final 2 minutes of the first half, 56 points through week 10. So obviously a pretty good run on this thing, as is Indianapolis.
Here comes big Cameron Fleming back in the game, extra offensive lineman, and Jonas Gray, you can almost bet on it.
3rd and 1.
Oh, he's checking.
And play fake, and then the pass is going to get picked off at the 32. Adams has his 2nd of the night. Oh my, on a 2nd down and very short. He checks, and then Brady off balance throws a floater for an interception.
You see the signal, you could almost tell, all up in man coverage. Then he gets the pressure inside just as he turns around from Montori Hughes and floats one out there. Very un-Brady-like. You just don't float one up without seeing what you've got underthrown. Really a terrible play by Tom Brady.
Yeah. You don't see that very often, so a big break for the Colts at the 23-yard line. Adams with 2 interceptions, 14-3, a minute 16, and the Colts have all their timeouts. Bunch to the left. Luck going that way and out of bounds. Intended for Hilton this time. Covered by Revis. It'll be second down.
Well, you've got all the way right here. You get all these stunts going because they want to try and take away this step-up ability for Andrew Luck. And one thing you've got to say about Andrew Luck is he's willing to take a shot, but you don't want to take too many like that. They're trying to make him get that ball out just a little quicker. And so far tonight, T.Y. Hilton has been a non-factor.
Colts now missing their number 1 tight end, Dwayne Allen, who went back to the locker room on a cart. So he's out. Play clock at 1. Great protection, and then fired to the 10-yard line for a first down to T.Y. Hilton. Very clean pocket. Clock ticks down under a minute. First down. And now a timeout taken by Indianapolis. Ball right on the 10, thus a first and goal. 60 seconds and 2 timeouts. And a little fade, and it is caught for a touchdown by Hakeem Nicks. They're going to make sure he's in bounds. The former New York Giant makes the catch, both feet in. A little obscure, but from that angle, it looks like yes.
I think he got him down right there. That's a big play from Hakeem Nicks. They needed that. So if you're not doing so well with your 1 receiver against the 1 or 2 against the 2, go 3 against the 3. And there's Hakeem Nicks, who's been a star working against Logan Ryan, and they needed that one.
Very much. Vinatieri for the point after. I mean, New England had an 11-point lead. They had the ball. Brady had all the time. We know how proficient they are at the end of the half, and they're going to get the ball when they start the second half. Now all of a sudden you got 14-10.
Now clearly an audible from Tom Brady, and I'll bet you Bill Belichick is fuming right now. He's been running it lights out. You just want to get out of here at the half. If he picked up the first down, that would be that. And he floats one out there, and then you come right back and you pay it off. For the Indianapolis Colts, they have to feel like they are extremely lucky to get out of here with a 14-10 score if they can hold.
Yes. Brady had 3 interceptions all season long coming into the game. And 1 in the last 5 games, and now he's thrown 2 tonight. I guess Belichick will bench him for Garoppolo, right?
Maybe a big 5.
Yeah, we were reading that about 6 weeks ago.
Yeah.
Weren't we? Yeah.
Haven't seen that one very many times. A little confidence boost, though, for Andrew Luck in this offense.
McAfee's kickoff. 6 yards in, and Mendola only to the 14-yard line. Now you got 1st and 10. And it looks like and the crowd doesn't like it because the Patriots come up and with a kneel down. So it looks like Brady and company will be happy to run out the half and then take the second half kickoff. As you look at the numbers, each guy a number in that interception area. Andrew throwing 1 and Tom throwing 2 in the first half. So One more kneel down is going to take us to halftime.
Tell Michelle to get Belichick coming out of the locker room, not going in. I bet you he has steam coming out of his ears.
We're on to Cincinnati. Detroit, I guess, next week at home. 14-10 halftime score. Got a game on Sunday night. How about that? A four-point game? Last week, 42-0 at the half.
You tried to flex out.
Well, we couldn't do it. Jimmy Fallon wasn't working that late on Sunday night. Start with a touchback here. And back to the big play first half.
Well, both interceptions really came off of pressure on Torrey Hughes, going to come right up the gap here. And Mike Adams, playing center field back on the back end here, is the beneficiary of this balloon ball flown out there by Tom Brady. And that really was the big play, because it looked like it was all exactly falling the way that Bill Belichick wanted. And that turned everything.
Jonas Gray is the back. He already 100 yards, and he still has 100. Stop for no gain. Let's go to Michelle.
Well, I spoke with Bill Belichick, who was obviously unhappy at halftime, and he said, we just can't keep turning the ball over. Other than that, he didn't have a lot to say. As for Chuck Pagano, I asked him how they can slow down Jonas Gray, and he said, we got dominated at the line of scrimmage. We've simply got to line up across from our guys, stop them, and we've got to tackle better. And tight end Dwayne Allen, who we saw carted off late in the half, is officially out with a right ankle injury, Al.
All right, thank you, Michelle. And Pagano knows of what he speaks. 141 rushing yards for New England. And Brady then slings it to the outside, and Vereen has a ton of room, and Vereen over 40 yards there, more than 50 now before he's finally forced out of bounds. So down the sideline he goes, and Vereen, they're going to say he was stepped out at the 41-yard line.
And just a blown coverage. They try to make an adjustment off of the short motion, and they just don't pick up Shane Vereen coming out of the backfield.
Yeah,
Lucky he
right
barely stepped out right there. That would have been even bigger.
Yeah, I called it more than 50 at one point because they were letting it go, but the official comes in and signals he's out after 39. And now Brady, that shoulder shake to buy time, and throws complete. And it's Brandon LaFell, who came over in the offseason as a free agent from Carolina for a first down here.
One of the problems is now with that extra lineman in there, when they do go play action and they leave Gronkowski in, they have 7-man protection. So this back end is really getting put under a lot of pressure because Brady sat there for about 5 seconds on that one.
There's that extra lineman, 71, Cameron Fleming, rookie out of Stanford. Here's Gray again, breaking tackles. Gray with some tough running all the way to the 13-yard line.
Nice job by Ryan Wendell getting this reach block, and then the rest of it was just one-on-one blocking on the outside. Jonas Gray now, and I tell you, the offensive linemen love backs like this. Not only is he breaking tackles at the point of attack, but he is going exactly where this offensive line thinks he's going to go.
From the 13. Again with a pull up front. Gray to the 7-yard line. He goes, and they're just running the Colts ragged. 161 rushing yards for the Patriots tonight.
DeQuell Jackson had him dead to rights here. Just a clean shot. Nobody blocked him, and he runs right through it. That's what I was talking about. There's a difference with college backs and pro backs. Pro backs that can turn 3-yard gains into 5-yard gains make money.
Quick count. They've got the fullback Devlin in there, and Gray will take it very close to a first down, getting to the 3-yard line.
You saw the hurry up, and that was one of the things the Colts were concerned about. When the Patriots get in the red zone, a lot of times they'll snap right to the line of scrimmage, and you're not quite ready. But here is one of those kind of plays that for the Colts, they need to find a way to make something happen here. This has not been a good start to the half.
And so often on 3rd and 1, 4th and 1 through the years, we've seen Brady keep it himself. Devlin the fullback, Gray behind him. 3rd and a short 1. Give it to Gray, and Gray is going to fight his way through a tackle out of the backfield, and he signals first down, and he means it. He broke away from Freeman. First and goal.
Jarrell Freeman had him. This is going to be a field goal. He's got him right in the backfield. He gives him a little bit of the old dead leg, Al, that you love so much, and just slips through for the first down. Look at that. Just gave him the dead leg and down to the 2. You're a fan of that, right?
Oh, yeah, at Thanksgiving. First and goal at the 2. Go with 3 tight ends here. And Brady throwing to one of them, and it will be taken in for the touchdown by Tim Wright. Tim Wright, one of the 3 tight ends lining up here, had a huge night against Cincinnati when they started this winning streak. Pays off this drive with a touchdown.
I tell you, Josh McDaniels, what a play call. After the way they were running the football, I didn't think there's any way they were going to throw the ball there. Come right out, hard play action, and they just weren't ready for Tim Wright in the back of the end zone. Of course, he was the guy that was on the other end of the Logan Mankins trade that made everybody a little crazy in the beginning of the season, but paying off.
That's a good point, that Mankins thing. Ragged start for New England and everybody going crazy, but right now they move down the field. Gostowski for the extra point. Takes them less than 4 minutes to go 80 yards, 5 runs, 3 passes, and they're back up by 11. Opening drive of the second half resulting in a touchdown. You look at these 2 teams, you go back to 2000. Patriots have won 170 games, and they were the Colts. Division wins. They're 1-2 right there. Of course, we know about the Patriots. Belichick comes in, and then it's Brady, and now Luck comes in after the great Peyton Manning years. And Tony Dungy was here, and Jim Caldwell and Pagano comes in, and well, in a way, they luck into luck. Peyton can't play that 1 year. They have a terrible year. They get the #1 pick. Pretty good pick. Coming out of the end zone. Herron. And a little bit of room there. And closes quickly, and Herron is taken down to 25.
Well, of course, what's Bill Belichick going to do? He's going to take away your #1 threat. That would be T.Y. Hilton. A lot of coverage, double coverage to that side. There's a safety, there's a corner, and how does he do that? He plays one-on-one on the backside with Darrelle Revis on Reggie Wayne. Covers him there, and he does even better this time. He's going to get the tip ball, which leads to the interception. And everything was going swimmingly for this defense.
But right now they're down by 11. Richardson starts at running back. With the Trent Richardson. Nothing happening. Flag. Pete Morelli. Ninkovich may have got him by the face mask. Break for the Colts here.
Personal foul, grabbing the face mask, number 50. Defense, 15-yard penalty, automatic, first down.
Yep. To the 35. Revis and Browner. Browner, well, they've completed all 4 thrown his way. Revis gave up that one completion, that 46-yarder to Reggie Wayne.
Yeah, but even that one was a blown coverage. I'm not sure if Revis blew it or somebody else did, but the safety ran the other way, and I think he was thinking there was going to be a safety over the top. So it wasn't like he got beat one-on-one.
From the 40. Play action. Up in the pocket he goes, and that's a great catch by Reggie Wayne. Still doing such masterful work, 14 years in the league.
That time able to work across the face of Dante Hightower, coming all the way across. There's Hightower there. And this is what Reggie Wayne does best. You give him a zone. That was a perfect throw there because Hightower really wasn't in bad position. Look at this progression read here. See Andrew Luck working the pocket, but the eyes never come down.
16-yard gain. Wayne now 4 grabs for 86 yards tonight. Rushing 4. That line doing a really nice job, and the pass a little overthrown for Dante Moncrief, the rookie out of Mississippi. It'll be 2nd down and 10.
Had it. Andrew Luck just missed it there on the outside. Akeem Ayers, who really is the pass rusher now, but Anthony Costanzo is a guy we haven't talked about so far tonight. He is tremendous as a pass blocker, but this is Dante Moncrief, who is wide open on the outside. He had 7 for 113 yards and a touchdown against the Steelers, and he's getting some action now.
In play action. The line does its work again. It's caught, and this time a tough, good tackle. Fleener makes the catch, and Jamie Collins playing very well. Good tackler, Southern Mississippi, second year in the league, and he's been one of the really key guys, especially since Mayo went down.
Yeah, Jamie Collins is, I mean, it's pretty amazing to watch him. You don't think a guy that big can move like that. And they would love to rush him more now without Chandler Jones, but he's so valuable as a coverage guy, just afraid to do it.
6'3", 250 is Collins. 3rd and 6 here. Blitz coming. Luck moves away, throws, and stops short of the first down is Reggie Wayne. So it's going to be 4th down, a yard and a half in that area where you can either go for a really long field goal. At least for the moment, they're going to send Vinatieri and his gang out there.
There's the matchup. Going to try and come back out of it, get the completion, but unable to pick up the first down, and they go right for the field goal.
So the 41-year-old Vinatieri, it's going to be a 53-yard field goal. He has been unbelievable in his 20s, 30s, and 40s. Pagano opting to do this to make it a one-possession game again. That's good by 10 yards.
He's seen that before.
Wow, 8.5 over and over and over and over. 21-13. Something you don't see very often. 3 guys in the same game, all with over 200 games. Vinatieri, a long-time Patriot, 10 years there, and then he came here in 06. And they got Gostowski, so that's pretty good for them and really good for Indianapolis. And Amendola will down this in the end zone. Over 200 regular season starts and 25 postseason starts, only 2 guys. Jerry Rice, 284 and 29, and Tom Brady, 201 and 26 postseason games, including 5 Super Bowls.
And Tom Brady, after the big mistake, came right out and answered, didn't he? Took him right down the field, and sometimes when you get those star athletes and they get mad, they get better.
Oh, yeah. And he would be one of them. He's in that Hall of Fame. Play action. Oh, and on a slant, it's Edelman uncharacteristically dropping one right there. It'll be 2nd down and 10.
You know, this game really has not been played to the strength of the Colts defense so far. That was one of the few balls that have been thrown outside at Vontae Davis or Greg Toller. They really didn't feel like they could get over the top of those 2 guys. So it was more of an inside game with Gronkowski and Vereen and some of those guys working the inside.
On the ground where they've been so effective, and this time it's a 4-yard pickup. Gray is there. Gray has now toted it 20 times already tonight for 129 yards.
Greg Minuski is starting to answer this running game by getting a lot of bodies in here. Had to bring down even Julian Edelman to do a little blocking. But this has been the strength of this defense, getting off the field on 3rd down. They need a big one here.
3rd and 6, and the crowd knows it. They rise as one in full throat. Blitz up front, running stunts, and then the pass a little underthrown, but turning around is Brandon LaFell to make the catch. Had position on Darius Butler and picks up a big 1st down.
Well, first of all, they go this bunch formation here, and they're just going to swing Brandon LaFell around. And how much of a difference has he made? Basically given up on in Carolina, and he's come in here. And the thing that has impressed Brady the most about Brandon LaFell is his ability to run with the football after the catch. He's like a running back after he catches the football. Has had a major impact on this team.
from midfield. And one of the few times they're able to corral Gray as he reaches the line of scrimmage, gain of 1. Bjorn Werner making the tackle.
Bjorn Werner, one of 2 players born in Germany. Sebastian Vollmer on the other side, number 76. He's come over here and made quite the impact playing this game of football. Went to Florida State University. There's Sebastian Vollmer on the other side. He went to the University of Houston as a tight end.
Ahmad Bradshaw telling the crowd to get into it. 2nd and 9. Edelman coming around from the outside, gets to the 43. Toller makes the tackle, and now another 3rd down. This will be 3rd and let's call it 3. There was 8 for 45 on 3rd down in their home games. There are 4 of them until tonight. And the Patriots have not converted 6 times in 8 chances. 3rd and 3. Play clock at 3. At 1, and a timeout is taken here. So 3rd and 3 and a timeout called with 5:38 remaining in the 3rd.
That was one of those strange plays there where the Colts defense was unsettled, and they basically had to bring a safety, Sergio Brown, down to cover one of the wide receivers, and you could see the panic look on his face. And the Patriots motioned out of it, and it was like, oh, thank goodness. Then they had to call timeout. So lucky break that time for the Colts.
Eight-point game, a little over 5.5 left in the 3rd. And the Patriots have won 5 straight. Colts have won 6 of their last 7.
Now you've got the safety Sergio Brown on Gronkowski at the bottom of the screen, one-on-one.
Blitz coming. Brady hangs in there, throws, caught. That's a 1st down, and fighting his way for more is Gronkowski. So Gronkowski, who hasn't done that much in terms of receiving tonight, but he's been phenomenal in blocking, picks up a key 1st down.
This is no offense to Sergio Brown. It doesn't matter who you put out there. If Gronkowski is flanked out wide and you don't rotate the safety that way, they are going there. Unless Tom Brady goes to sleep. It's 100%. You can just write it down.
Asked Pagano the other day about Gronkowski. He said he is the ultimate game record. Fake to Vereen, and the pass to Vereen. Coming out of the backfield, and Vereen takes the ball to the 12-yard line. Another 1st down.
I love the finish here by Shane Vereen. Not only does he catch it, but he splits the defenders and dives basically for 5 or 6 more yards. Watch him. He is just going to go down. That's at least 5 yards after contact. So many of those speed guys will try and jitterbug their way out of that.
Get to the line in a hurry. Give the ball here to Gray, takes it inside the 10. It'll be 2nd down and 6.
You know, you settle for the field goal on the other end, but you always have to take into consideration who you're playing. And you really haven't stopped Tom Brady and the Patriots yet. So at some point, probably from this point forward, those 4th and 2s now start turning into you go for it.
Extra lineman Fleming is in the game. A bolt, a lot of leverage, and it's paid off tonight to the tune of 182 on the ground. Moore here to the outside. Gray cuts it back, has the 1st down, 1st and goal inside the 2.
Well, once again, Gronkowski at the point of attack and able to hold off there Andy Studebaker, and then the patience. You can tell that Jonas Gray is starting to feel this now. He just waited for his guard Dan Conley to get out in front of him, and they are pounding these guys.
Looking for his 3rd touchdown of the night, and he has it. 3 times into the end zone. Again, they had the fullback in there, Devlin, the bulk up front, the line doing a great job, and Gray having a phenomenal night.
He will not get off the course, and why would you? Watch James Devlin, the fullback here, just take out DeQuell Jackson. What a block this is. That's as good as you will see from a fullback in this league. Fantastic.
And the crowd now goes into silent mode as Brady has led them on an 80-yard drive. And again, great balance all night long because of the running game, obviously. 6 runs, 4 passes, 2 big third down conversions. That's been gigantic for the Patriots tonight against the #1 third down defense in the league. High snap. Allen gets it down, and Gostowski converts. 3.5 left in the third. New England 28, Indianapolis 13. And Gostowski sending it down. It's a bouncing ball. A little confusion down there, and the ball is going to be downed in the end zone. It's a safety, yeah, because it was nobody had possession of it, and now they're going to come in and call it a touchback. You had Riff Whalen
during the kick. The receiving team never had complete control of the ball. By rule, that's still the impetus is by the kick. It is a touchback.
All right, good explanation from Morelli there. Heron and Whalen.
That's interesting.
Yeah.
Because that ball was dead, almost, and they kicked it back in.
But the Colts are still alive. If you look at both coaches, something you almost never see what just took place right there. But nobody had possession of it. And the Colts, with no possession, they get it back into the end zone, and then it's down there. If it was batted back into the end zone, you could have a safety. But since nobody had possession, in effect, muffed into the end zone, you get a touchback. Luck throws and open down the sideline. Once again is Fleener, who had 3 big plays in the first half and a really big play here.
The old double move on the outside, and this is by a tight end, Kobe Fleener, who's really basically a wideout. But look how strong he was. He just threw Brandon Browner and 220 pounds basically off of him, and then was just faster than Browner.
It's a gain of 45. Fleener's now caught 5 for 113 yards. And the Colts with a run to the outside here by Bradshaw for a minimal gain. Wins after trailing 10 or more points since 2012. Matthew Stafford's done it a half dozen times, as has Mr. Brady, as has one Andrew Luck. Have to do it again. We'll see if the Colts have it in them tonight. Down by 15. 2nd and 10 here. 2.5 to go in the third. And Luck throws over the middle, and the ball is incomplete. Came loose. T.Y. Hilton couldn't hang on. Kyle Arrington is the guy who dislodged it as it got there. 3rd and 10.
Yeah, I think that was pretty clear cut. Happened. But you know, Al, really the difference in this game is that Chuck Pagano's offense can't run at all. I'm not so sure Andrew Luck with about 8 yards isn't still the leading rusher. If he's not, it's close.
Yep, 11 carries tonight for Indy, 14 yards. Luck 2 for 8, Bradshaw 4 for 6, Richardson 5 for net 0. Third and 10, and that is caught. Another great catch by Fleener. Boy, he has been something else tonight to the 14.
He beats him deep, and now he comes right back to the back shoulder. A push off. I don't think any question about it. Missed by the officials. Did he get the foot down? Drag? Yes, he did. Nice catch.
And they rush to the line. They don't want any challenge here, but they may get one, as Belichick may decide to, and he will, shoots the flag out. One of those, you know, it's one of those things where, you know, upstairs with the Colts rushing to the line, you leave it to somebody upstairs, and, you know, it's still, it's even inconclusive, I'm sure, in the minds of whoever sent.
New England is challenging the ruling on the field of a completed catch at the sideline.
Right. Whoever sends it down, I mean, they're putting their neck on the line too. So Morelli goes under the hood.
after reviewing the play, the ruling on the field is confirmed. It is a catch. First down. New England will be charged with timeout and a challenge.
Looked a lot closer when we went to commercial, but now it's clear from that angle that that right foot gets down. No question. Left down, possession, right drags. And New England charged with a timeout. So a first down at the 33. Another great play by Fleener. 6 catches for 135. The guy who played at Stanford, Luck, who begins to stumble, but he gets it away. And then taken down right away is Hakeem Nicks by Logan Ryan at the 9.
Big game so far for Kobe Fleener. Career high 135 yards. It's his second career 100-yard game, but he has really stepped up without Dwayne Allen. Of course, Dwayne Allen gives you the blocking edge, but in this game they can't run it anyway, so why not put your receiving tight end in?
Right foot, 4 double. 891, 891.
2nd and 5 play. And Bradshaw drops it. Boy, he was hit hard by Collins. And New England pointing as if they have recovered it. And it's not going to be their ball because the officials come in. Possession is maintained here.
Watch Jamie Collins come through here and just knock this thing out. Bradshaw gets it a little bit loose, but this Jamie Collins, when he makes up his mind he's going one way, he gets there fast. He was all the way in the backfield on basically a read play.
So back to the 11. Big 3rd and 8. You look at the touchdowns, not field goals, down by 15 points with 16 minutes to play in the game. 3rd and 8. Luck under pressure. He's going to step up and he's going to run close to a first down. Tripped up by Ninkovich. Forward progress. Here comes the head linesman in to spot it a yard shy. Going to be 4th and 1.
It was definitely confusion on the outside by the Patriots. They got away with it, and Luck does not go for the slide. He goes for the first down, and he really had to in this situation.
Quickly to the line, but the Patriots are able to get different defenders in. Going for it on 4th and 1, and the pass to the outside. Bradshaw is going to pick up the first down. Almost got stopped shy. Will Fork is in on the action right there, 1st and goal with 19-18 and ticking down to the end of the quarter.
I tell you, I have a lot of admiration for Ahmad Bradshaw. As they call him in Indianapolis, they call him the dog, and that's a positive thing. He's a guy that gives you everything he has on every single play, and Brady can't believe it.
A good dog is a DAWG. That's what he is. End of the 3rd, 28-13, 1st and goal when we come back as Sunday Night Football from Indianapolis continues after these messages. $15-point lead, but Colts have a 1st and goal at the 2.
Mike 5-2, Mike 5-2. Watch your late shift, watch your late shift.
Bradshaw, the running back.
Red 90.
James Jackson running up in the backfield. And Bradshaw will fight his way. Nope. The official comes in. The cannon goes off, but they're going to say he was stopped shy of the goal line by Jonathan Casillas.
Would have been like the way he went in for the Super Bowl here, backwards. The ball gets across, but is his backside down before that happens, and I think it was just barely down there and not across the line. Good call by the officials.
2nd and goal. You see the confetti? They thought it was a touchdown. Bradshaw again. So when they shot whatever it was, they shoot off for a touchdown, and then the confetti is streaming down, which would signify normally a touchdown, but right now it's going to be 3rd and goal.
Chris Jones right here is just going to sneak right past Jack Mewhort and hit that play in the backfield. So they've got to clean up some confetti and clean up some blocking schemes up front for the Colts.
But jumping the gun.
It's not good. Premature confetti is not good.
Please set the play clock to 10 seconds.
Oh, that's a phrase for the ages. So the play clock reset right now at, they say 10. Morelli come to the line, then he'll wind it. Richardson is the running back. Play clock rolling again, 3rd and goal. Play fake and then wide open. Anthony Costanzo on a tackle eligible. He's been working on that.
Oh, baby, here we go. Right out here like this, tackle eligible. There is no eligible receiver on the line of scrimmage. And watch this dance. This may be the best one I've ever seen. Little shot on Vince Wilfork. Oh, you know he's been thinking about that for a long time. That's awesome.
First ever catch for the Colts left tackle.
And not even a smile.
Nope. Vinatieri point after. They needed that drive. Minute and a half into the 4th quarter. 1 possession game again. 28-20 Patriots. And a touchback here off the foot of McAfee. And oh, there's Bradshaw going back to the Colts locker room.
Pete Morelli right there is going to come in. Costanza is going to say, yep, I'm eligible. Now he's going to announce it. So it wasn't like any secret. Reggie Wayne has to be off the ball for him to be eligible. He definitely pushed the limits of that. But on 3rd down and 1, tough to focus on the tackle as an eligible receiver.
All right, Brady to work now. From the 20 in a 1 possession game. Brady 16 to 26, 195, and picked twice. Deep downfield, too high. Michael Ho'omanawanui was the intended receiver. AFC, the division leaders, New England on top. Denver right now would own the tiebreak over KC. Indy in the AFC South, and the Bengals shocking the Saints in the Superdome today on top in the North.
How about that division with the Saints and Atlanta, and they could end up with a 6-win team going to the playoffs.
Certainly under 500. Division leaders are 4 and 6 there. Brady, play action, that buys time, steps up to avoid the sack, throws, caught, 15-yard gain, and it's Edelman with a big catch and a 1st down. He comes up hopping.
Pressure coming right at Tom Brady, and he steps around it here. But this time is what allowed Edelman to get open, because it took a long time. Toller had pretty good position on him early. Then had just enough time to work open. But Edelman, whatever is bothering him, is still bothering him.
It is, because he just went off the field, at least for 1 play. Now the handoff goes to Gray. Just been doing this all night long. Gain here of 7 yards. So Gronkowski tonight, in terms of receptions, quiet, 3 for 45, long of 20. Done a wonderful job, though, blocking. And he will get the defense's attention, you know that.
Well, and that's what you do as an offense. When you leave him in to block, they think run. And so it set up some of the play-action passing game as well.
2nd and 3, you go with that Devlin fullback and Gray tailback combination, which has been so successful. And now they split Gray out to the right. First time they've done that. And Brady slings one, and that'll be caught by LaFell, who comes back again to make the catch. 2nd time he's made a very similar play.
Well, it's a good sell job by Brandon LaFell out here. Vontae Davis in perfect position, gets his head around, and just a perfectly thrown back shoulder ball. I don't know how you cover that. That's just, you just tip your cap to him and say congratulations. That's perfect.
That was 22 yards. Gray again through the middle. Be a yard shy of the first down. They'll spot it after a gain of 9.
Here's Nate Solder going to come here and trap down, and they're just running right inside these trap blocks. We talked about the angles, but a good athlete like Nate Solder, a former tight end at Colorado, that time read the linebacker and was able to get up inside him just in time to make the block.
2nd and 1, 158 yards tonight for Gray. And this time they are able to stuff him at the 28-yard line, clearly already in field goal range, but a big stop coming up here. Sergio Brown making the tackle. .206 rushing yards. Well, somebody should have Andrew Luck and Summerstock as Abe Lincoln. Flag down.
They got him.
Flags all over the place. Now you got. And Pagano angry with that hard count. Getting up to the line quickly.
He was mad at Zach Kerr for not hustling off the field fast enough. They made a substitution. He clearly was not off the field. Now there may be something else to go with that.
It's Carl Johnson, one of the officials, along with Morelli, who used to be the head of officials a couple of years ago, then decided to go back on the field.
Is there a face mask on that tackle?
There are 2 fouls on the play on the defense. Offside, number 94, that penalty is declined. Personal foul, face mask, number 50, that penalty is accepted. 15 yards, automatic first down.
And really almost close to 3 fouls for too many men on the field. He's behind the line of scrimmage there.
But you can't give gifts to this team. And you know they practice that all week, that they are going to have, if you try to sub on a 3rd and less than 5, you are going to get that quick snap. It is like Peyton Manning. They don't miss those opportunities. The Colts worked on it all week, and they blow it.
Terrell Freeman was the guy who committed the face mask foul. It gives Brady a first down at the 14-yard line. Threading his way over the right side. You lose him in that mass of bodies, and then somehow at the other end of it, he comes up with 4 or 5 yards. 10 minutes to play in regulation.
I'll bet you Jonas Gray has not run one time tonight where he didn't hit the exact hole that Bill Belichick wanted. And that sounds so simplistic, but it happens so rarely because these backs make a living off of making cute cuts and bouncing out, and we talk about it all the time. Jonas Gray, you tell him to run there, he's going there.
This is his 30th carry, and he takes it inside the 5 to set up a first down and goal.
Well, Dan Conley is doing a nice job getting out, around, and up, and then Jonas Gray is just waiting for it. Wait, then make the cut downhill, and I guarantee you these defensive backs are sick of hitting Jonas Gray. He's wearing them out.
And the Patriots hustle to the line of scrimmage with the ball not ready for play yet. Now it is. First and goal. Brady throws off the hands, incomplete, flag though thrown. Gronkowski working on Sergio Brown. Conference here, offense or defense?
I didn't see the interference at the
pass
point.
Interference, number 38 defense. The foul occurred in the end zone. By rule, the ball will be placed at the 1-yard line. Automatic first down.
Let's see. Here goes Gronk right here. See if he grabs a little jersey here. Right there on the tail end. There you go. Right. It's a good call. He was beaten on the play, pulled the jersey, and they got him.
And they give it to Gray. And Gray for the 4th time tonight 4 touchdowns. And a flag down on the play. And another one comes in at the end. He had one during the play and one after the play.
Gronk over there stirring it up like it's a nightclub.
After the touchdown, personal foul, number 87 of the offense, also taunting offense. By rule, the touchdown is good. The penalty be enforced on the kickoff.
And that's the important thing. The touchdown is good. Puts them up by 14 going on 15 after the extra point.
You see Gronkowski at the far left side of your screen, and he just finishes this block well after the touchdown signal was called. Drives him right off the field and into the television truck. And I think Gronk, you see him flapping his fingers saying, that guy's been talking all game. I just threw him into the NBC camera.
It's our camera?
I think. Jimmy Fallon in the background there.
3 possessions in this half, 3 touchdowns, extra point good, all on 80-yard drives. What a ground game tonight. 4 for that guy. Now the kickoff will come from the 20-yard line after the personal foul on Gronkowski. And it's run back by Daniel Herron up to the 31-yard line. So 8:36 left for Andrew Luck. Down by 15 at home. From the 32-yard line. Luck coming up in the pistol. First time they've used this set tonight as Luck throws, and it's behind Reggie Wayne, and we go to Michelle.
Al, you saw Ahmad Bradshaw go back to the locker room a bit ago. He went back for x-rays. He is now officially out with a lower leg injury after they were looking at that left foot and ankle area. And he is a guy with a history of problems with his feet, 3 surgeries to his right feet, and reportedly some issues with both ankles and feet. So we'll find out exactly what this is, but tonight he's out, Al.
Thank you, Michelle. We just saw his last carry, and that would be a really big blow to this team because he and Richardson have formed the 1-2 punch. And Luck, and that is incomplete. Good coverage in the secondary. Luck had nowhere to go. Matt Patricia has done a really nice job working through the loss of Gerard Mayo and some other key injuries
Chandler
as well.
Jones lost his pass rusher and his play caller. But think about what they've done tonight. They've stopped the run. They've made this Colts offense one-dimensional, and they've taken away T.Y. Hilton. 3 catches for 24 yards. Bill Belichick's always going to get the credit, but that guy right there, Matt Patricia, is a master teacher of Bill Belichick's principles.
3rd and 10. And Luck gets hit as he throws, and the pass is incomplete, intended for Hilton. Ninkovich came in from behind to get him that time and make it 4th and 10.
Now, one of the reasons Rob Ninkovich is so popular, watch him just keep hustling over here. He's really blocked by Gosder Sherrillis. He's just going to keep fighting his way back in and gets his arm on the arm of Andrew Luck just enough to force that incompletion. And they're going for it.
Yeah, they're lining up to go for it. On 4th and 10. Pagano saying reset that play clock, but they didn't. So all the way down to 2. They get it off. It's a 4th and 10. And it is incomplete. Reggie Wayne could not hang on. They go for it. And now New England will take over with a short field. .8:14 left. New England trying to make it 6 straight. So they give it up on downs to the Colts, and now the Patriots have it at the 32. Mr. Jonas Gray with a toast of New England.
I mean, they really now in this fourth quarter are starting to sort of reach out with arms and try and reach. Look at the night he's having. And they have stayed with it. That's what I love. Josh McDaniels, he gets something going. He doesn't care. Tom Brady, he's out throwing a lot of touchdown passes. This is working. Let's stay right here.
2nd and 6. To the left side. Eating up some clock. We go to Michelle.
Well, Jonas Gray told me when he got to the Patriots, Al, he had a mental picture of how to be a pro thanks to some big names. When he was on IR in Miami, Reggie Bush mentored him in the weight room. When he was on the practice squad in Baltimore, Haloti Ngata and Terrell Suggs treated him like a tackle dummy every day. And he said, I think my success is the culmination of all those experiences.
And Michelle, tonight, everything is paid off. 174 yards, 33 carries. Brady goes to Gronkowski. Gronkowski had been in motion. Look at that. There's your exclamation point.
Wow.
Gronkowski, 26 yards, like a runaway truck.
Oh, man. Oh, I'm just going to let it play. You don't need an explanation, but watch the block at the tail end of this place. Adams is going to get lit up. Oh, that was Julian Edelman coming back across, and Gronkowski refused to be tackled. How do you tackle that guy? Look at that shot on Mike Adams and his 2 interceptions. Whoa, what a play.
4 possessions this half, 4 touchdowns. 6:46, not officially over, but over in another manner.
Oh, yeah?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, just in case you're wondering. 41-20. Well, there is Gronkowski, who got into the act tonight. There's 6 touchdowns scored by New England, 4 of them by Gray. 1 by Gronkowski and the other by the other tight end, Wright. Gronk after the touchdown. Here he is.
Then he heads right for Belichick, tells him, I'm going to dance, coach, all right? I'm going to stick my tongue out and dance. There you go. People get frustrated with him, but there's nothing malicious about the guy. I mean, he really is that sort of bundle of energy at all times, and he loves football. I mean, he just loves it, and it shows in his play.
And the resurgence of the Patriots very much coinciding with Gronkowski getting healthy. And that'll be caught by Fleener, who's been their ace receiver tonight on a team with Hilton and Wayne and Nix. It's been Fleener who's done most of the damage. 7 catches, 144.
It's actually been Darrelle Revis that's done most of the damage tonight. He really has been the MVP of this one.
2nd and 1. Short 1. Knocked down. Chris, it's like, with Belichick, we're talking to him, and he never gives anything away. I mean, trying to get anything out of Bill is like really trying to get nuclear secrets, crack the code and all that. He always comes up with something really good normally, too.
Well, he does, but I mean, it was almost predictable. You knew he was going to try and take away T.Y. Hilton, right? You knew they were going to try and stop the run. Check, they did that. So how are they going to do it? And then I just didn't calculate it would be Revis on Reggie Wayne so they could help Hilton and double him. That's what was unique about this play.
And Richardson, boy, I tell you, he's struggling. Paid a big price for him with Cleveland last year. They needed a running back. All kinds. Vic Ballard got hurt and Bradshaw got hurt, and they needed somebody to go with Luck, so they traded for him. And fans of the Colts are not particularly thrilled with his performance over the past year.
Yeah, his first 3 years may set a record for lowest yards per carry average.
wide open that time, and there is Richardson who gets free. And then he's able to get to the 50-yard line.
Well, this is one thing that definitely has been better out of Richardson. His play away from the ball. His ability in protection, his ability in the passing game. He understands this offense better. And now he may be the man, depending on how Ahmad Bradshaw is.
Yep.
Oh, my God.
That almost picked by Hightower right there.
I'll tell you, I have been so impressed by these two linebackers. Even though he dropped that one, I shouldn't say it now, but Dante Hightower here right in the middle of your screen is just going to read this and jump up and almost make the catch, probably spying Andrew Luck on the play. But not only has Dante Hightower been impressive, he basically ran down Andrew Luck on one of the previous plays. Jamie Collins has been fantastic, and these are two guys that maybe were thought of being too young to really run Bill Belichick's defense.
2nd and 10. Boy, crowd won't like any part of this. Play call, Richardson, you name it.
Let's take a look at some of these stars tonight stuffing the run, because that's been the difference. Vince Wilfork all over the rookie Jonathan Harrison early on. Rob Ninkovich jumps inside and gets Bradshaw in the backfield. And then watch Jamie Collins fire through here on this one. The minute he sees it, he's there. Punch that football out. The difference in this game has been the inability of the Colts to run it and the Patriots running game.
That has been a referee stops contest duel. And Luck's going to get hit. The ball's in the air. Can't be caught by an ineligible man. And it will be 4th down. Ninkovich came in and busted up the play.
Here we go. Right in there is the matchup we've been talking about.
Flag comes in at the end here, too.
Terrell Revis on Reggie Wayne. Now they ended up with the safety over the top. It has been basically Kyle Arrington and McCourty doubling T.Y. Hilton, and it has worked. Didn't help when Dwayne Allen went out of the game, that's for sure.
Flag came in several seconds after the play.
You can see a lot of respect between those two. That's a friendly conversation. That's not trash talking.
20-second timeout.
Reggie Wayne has been a great player for a long time. You made a great point about that, too.
We have the illegal touch of a forward pass by number 69 of the offense. Penalties decline. 4th down.
Talking about the fact that Reggie Wayne, for a lot of his career, has been sort of the number 2 guy.
It's amazing because Reggie Wayne's a guy who, we're not going to put him in the Hall of Fame. You don't know how you get in or you don't, especially with receivers. But I mean, he's certainly a guy who's going to get very, very serious consideration. And yet, his career, he's been the supporting actor for many years with Marvin Harrison, and now of late with T.Y. Hilton. Well, you wouldn't know that judging on tonight's game, but that has been the case. 4th and 12, and that is caught. And that is the Patriots saying no. Nix is there. Now they're going to say incomplete. Patricia comes in and says, nice work, guys, because they've turned it over on downs again. But, you know, he's with Harrison. We're looking at this again here. On 4th down, to the outside he goes, and nope, can't hold on.
Logan Ryan gets his revenge on Nix for the touchdown he gave up earlier. That was a clean catch. He just ended up knocking it out. You know, these other corners are not all that bad. I've been watching them tonight, and you know, they got some guys. I don't even have Alfonso Denner active tonight, but Browner certainly adds an edge. Malcolm Butler played pretty well a couple weeks ago against Denver, and tonight it's Logan Ryan and Kyle Arrington with big roles.
I told you they should have gone to Garoppolo. He's in there right now, and they give the ball to Gray. You know, Chris, I'm trying to think. You played receiver, and I'm trying to think of, you know, Jerry Rice. John Taylor was pretty good, but I'm trying to think of the supporting characters along the way, trying to put Wayne into a class with some of these other guys.
But you know, he did have a gap of, you know, about 3 years, 4 years there after Harrison retired and before T.Y. Hilton, where he really was the man. 100 catches,
right,
1,000+ yards. He was the dominant figure, so it wasn't like he wasn't ever, but there were big gaps where he was the number 2 guy.
No question, big gaps. And then when he did ascend to number 1, You know, there's the year Manning didn't play, so that was a horrible year for this team, so he really couldn't do that much. Then he tears up his knee last year, so that's a year and a half where he could have been, you know, the ace, and it didn't work out. Anyway,
well, he is currently the active player with the most yards and the most catches. So this guy's had a really significant career. And he had the big plays early in this game, came right out 1, 2, 3, and then they sort of made the switch and put Rivas on him a little bit more. And I don't know what they're paying Darrelle Rivas, but he's earning every nickel of it out here tonight.
12.50 an hour. On the play clock down. Gray will take us not quite to the 2-minute warning.
Well, you know, we really have to talk just a minute about this offensive line. When you have a guy with a rushing performance like this, these guys up front have got to get some national exposure. It has been Nate Solder and Dan Conley and Brian Stork and Ryan Wendell, Sebastian Vollmer. We've seen Marcus Cannon, Cameron Fleming. They've gone 7 deep with this offensive line, and now Fleming, who's had a big night tonight, is limping off, and that's too bad because he was terrific.
Bring the rookie in as the extra lineman.
Michael Manawanui, the other blocking tight ends, had a big night.
Nice going.
I just make it up. I don't
know. No, you don't. That's why you're the best. Fleming rolled up on. We'll see this on the replay. Yep, there it is right there. You look at St. Louis. I mean, they lose Bradford early. Then Austin Davis looks good. Then he loses the job to Hill. And I think, if I'm not mistaken, they beat in San Francisco, Seattle, and Denver.
Sort of like the Colts did last year. Remember when they were knocking off all the top teams?
Right.
Tough night. You know, Andrew Luck's not the first one that hasn't been able to solve this Patriots defense. But this one's a little rougher because of the fact that it was at home. They were the #1 offense coming in. And Matt Patricia and Bill Belichick and these guys really shut them down.
And here's Gray.
A little Marshawn Lynch in him.
He's going to wind up. He may wind up at 200. He needs 10 more yards.
He's going to wind up in the cold tubs where he's going to wind up. But I couldn't be happier for this young man. I'm just telling you, he is a really, really good kid.
2-minute warning. It's 42-20. Patriots.
Well, here's the defensive star of the game right here, Darrelle Rivas. Once Reggie Wayne came out hot early, was making a bunch of catches. They make this switch. Rivas ends up in man-to-man coverage. Then they double T.Y. Hilton. And Rivas all night long has been able to stay on Reggie Wayne when it mattered most. Can't give him the MVP, though, of course, because Jonas Gray on the other side. And Notre Dame Fighting Irish, I'm totally biased.
Well, it's only his 38th carry. If he can get 10 more yards, he'll be at 200. Amendola, Devlin coming over there. He's at 199 right now. 199.
Got a little action going on in the backfield. Got to be happy for a young man like that hanging in. And how much easier does it make for Tom Brady? But the really significant moment, and I see it happen all the time with great players. They screw something up, and he made that bad pass right before the half, and the audible and the interception. And what did he do? He came out and went bang, bang, bang right down the field about 4 times in a row, and this thing was over.
Well, they'll just kneel down the rest of the way. So he's going to wind up at 199. So Belichick with a ton of wins, of course, through his career. RFK no longer there, 0-1. Kingdom, he played 1 game there and lost that one. University of Phoenix Stadium, where he hopes to be for the Super Bowl this year, 0-1. Silverdome is long gone. Three Rivers is long gone. He was 0-6 there. He was the coach of Cleveland, of course. That's why he has so many games there. And here, 0-3.
You know, great coaches and great quarterbacks and great organizations have a way of starting in one place, but they get better. And Bill Belichick's teams always get better, and you have seen tonight how much better they are. They have been incredible for about the last month and a half.
Meanwhile, the Colts will stay home, meet Jacksonville and Washington in back-to-back weeks here. That's the good news. Then 3 of their last 4 are on the road. For Belichick, it's on to Detroit, which they play at home. It's pretty much like it's on to Cincinnati. Bill not looking in the rearview mirror. Always ahead.